Hey everybody, welcome to Bama Blind. I'm Beverly, and if you're new to my channel, this channel is basically about living blind, which I have been all my life. Not totally blind, but functionally blind all of my life. And this is a little story time, so that's why I'm sitting in front of the camera. Usually I'm out doing different stuff, but this story time particularly is about what are you, blind? And it's in kind of the subject matter of you don't look blind. And I do look a lot more visually impaired now than I did when I had more mobility vision. But one of the funniest things, and it is funny now, so that's why I want to tell it, that happened. It wasn't funny at the time. It was terrifying, absolutely terrifying. But it was in paradise. My husband and I had gone on our honeymoon to Hawaii, and we had flown from the East Coast all the way to Hawaii, which was like a 9-hour flight. And I had never gone that far before, and I was just, having the time of my life and enjoying being, where we were, even though a lot of Hawaii is visual. So you get a lot of, I had to get my husband, who was my new husband, to describe things like what the foliage looked like and what the mountainside looked like and what the flowers looked like, because so much of Hawaii is scenery. Well, one of the days that, I didn't use a cane then. I didn't need a cane then. I did use sighted guidance when I was in a dimly lit place or a really unfamiliar place, or maybe an unsafe place. So we had decided, we had already finished. One day we climbed Diamond Head, and that was really fun. And all I did is follow my husband. He was in front of me, and I would just follow his footsteps because I could see his feet, but I couldn't see anything else. So that was fun, and I love to do stuff, stuff like that. But one day we had decided that we would be snorkeling in one of the most picturesque places for tourists, and it's called Hanauma Bay. And snorkeling, I had never snorkeled before. I grew up going to the Gulf Beach, but I never snorkeled. And I thought, well, what am I going to be able to see or do? If I can't see, then the whole point, I think, of snorkeling is just going down with goggles on and looking around at what's around you. So my husband said, well, a friend of mine, my husband was in the Air Force, and he said, a friend of mine told me that if we take peas, like frozen English peas, to the area where you want to snorkel, then you can get the fish to actually come right up to you. And, for me, that would be really, really good, because then I'd be able to see them, perhaps. So anyway, we rented a car, we drove to Hanauma Bay, and you park your car and then you walk. It's very hilly because there's mountains, in that area, and Hanauma Bay is like up a mountain that you walk up a hill, and then you kind of serpentine down this beautiful steep hill to where the bay is, and on either side of the bay are these beautiful rising mountains with the foliage and just things that you only see in Hawaii. And then the water is blue and clear, and the sand is just beautiful. So we had spread our stuff out, and we had been out in the sun for a little while. It wasn't hot like it is here in Alabama. So I was just having an absolute wonderful day. My husband said, well, why don't we go snorkeling? So I put on my snorkel mask and got the little snorkel hose or straw or whatever it's called. I'm not even sure what it's called. So we went into the water, and to my surprise, these fish were just coming right up to my snorkel mask, and they would just come right up to me and go right by me in front of my eyes, and I could see their gorgeous colors. Well, I really couldn't see their colors, but I could see that they were, like, for example, this shirt that I have on is a yellow. So you know, if the fish were yellow with stripes, I could see that. If it were dotted, I could see that. And if it were like a blue, I could see that that was different than yellow. So I could see these gorgeous fish, and they were all different sizes and shapes, and they were just floating right up to me, and the water was so clear and blue I could actually see it, and I was just like in a wonderland. So we did that for a while, and then my husband said, well, I'm going to go find the men's room. Are you okay? And I was lost in the moment, in, you know, having a great time. And I said, yeah, but can you bring me the sack of peas that we bought? Because I really want to see if they will eat, you know, or, you know, because I'm kind of scared of fish nibbling and things like that, but I wasn't afraid at all. So anyway, he brought me the thawed, now it was thawed peas, because we had been sitting out for a while, and then he went to the men's room. So I was out in my, now of course this was, you know, several years ago, I was out in my bikini, snorkeling and all tanned and brown from the sun, and all of a sudden I heard a whistle and the man came right up to me, and he said, what are you doing? Are you blind? And I had no idea what he was talking about. And he said, are you blind? And I said, well, yes, I am. And he grabbed my bag of peas and he said, this is no joke. He said, can you not read the sign over there? It says no, absolutely no feeding of the fish. And I was mortified because I am blind and I saw no sign. And of course my husband had seen no sign, and he was gone, and I was thinking, oh my gosh, and it was very shallow water. So you know, I stood up and I was saying, yes, I am blind. Of course I have no cane. I don't look blind. What is a blind person snorkeling? You know, I could understand his confusion, because I would have been confused too if I were him. So I said, I am blind. You know, my husband, who, I'm still getting used to saying the idea husband, my husband has gone to the men's room. He's got his wallet. My ID is in the wallet, because I had to carry my non-driver's ID because I'm, you know, traveling, and you didn't have passports. We weren't in another country. I had my non-driver's ID. It did have my maiden name on it, but it did say non-driver's ID. So in my total panic and fear, I said, well, when my husband comes back, I'll show you I'm blind. I couldn't see that. And he's going, yeah, right. He said, I would write you a ticket, but you better have that ID, because it is totally against our, and I could have sworn he said federal law, and it could have been a federal habitat. I was so scared at that point, I was shaking. My husband came back. He saw me talking to this man, and the man obviously had on some sort of vest that identified him, and I couldn't read what it said. So my husband straightened it out, and I'm just standing there. I basically could not speak for myself. I was so petrified that I said, you know, I am blind, and here's my ID, but I won't feed any more fish, and you've got the peas, so, you know, I'm so sorry. And the rest of the day was just not fun. I mean, our honeymoon was fun, and we did more sightseeing, but I was really, it's kind of like, you know, when you go to different places, you really need to know what the rules and regulations are, because you can get in trouble very easily. And, you know, I just thought it was ironic that the guy said, what, are you blind or something? And there I was blind. And, you know, when he looked at the ID, it was like, you know, he said, I would write you a ticket, but you will have a warning. And, you know, he let me go back to my, I didn't even want to go back in the water, but he let me go back to my place on the sand. And there I stayed the rest of the day. And I was happy to do that, but I just thought that was a funny story, and there's thousands of those stories because I've been blind all my life, and just get a joke out of it and keep on going and chalk it up for more experience. And so until I talk to you next time, everybody, have a great day. Bye-bye.